All right, welcome to World Wellness Weekend Event 2020. I'm Lorne Brown. I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, clinical director of AcuBalance Wellness Center in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. And my topic's going to be on how to hack your mind for health and peace of mind. You can see from my background there, I'm a doctor of traditional Chinese medicine, a fellow of the American Board of Oriental Reproductive Medicine. It is true I'm a CPA. I used to be an accountant, a chartered accountant before I went into Chinese medicine, and I'm also a trained clinical hypnotherapist, and proud this is my second year of being the Canadian ambassador for integrative medicine and health for the United Nations initiative on wellness. So today, what we're going to talk about, there's 5 pillars of health when it comes to the World Wellness Weekend this year, and all of these pillars are incredibly important. And I practice these for myself and teach to my patients at AcuBalance. Today, we're going to focus on number 4, Serenity and Mindfulness. However, sleep and restoration, nutrition and nourishment, vitality and movement, the exercise, purpose and solidarity. It's not, oh, which one am I going to do? It is meant that you do all 5. And depending where you are on your spectrum of health, you may enter through nutrition and nourishment, for example. Because of what's happening in the world, there's closures, there's pandemics, there's political change. There's a lot of stress and anxiety that some people are feeling from this change. And I just thought Serenity and Mindfulness is a key message and key tools that we need to help us move through the changes that we are currently experiencing. So it can be more of a positive experience versus for some a negative experience. Now I'll share with you that my approach, my goal, my intention is that it's simple, powerful, and effective. Powerful and effective people love. Simple has a risk factor to it, as in when it's so simple, because what I'm going to share with you is so simple, it has the risk of being dismissed or ignored. And so this is why I want to share with you that if you're looking for something complicated, something really expensive, then you're in the wrong place. If you're looking for something that's simple and powerful and effective, then this is the webinar for you, and these tools will be for you as well. And I love Einstein's quote here that make everything as simple as possible, but not simpler. So we're making this simple, but not too simple where it loses its effectiveness. Now, when thinking about health from a Chinese medicine perspective, from a naturopathic medicine perspective, we have this spectrum. And one of the things or definition of health where we may consider it different than what we've grown up with when we think of orthodox or conventional medicine is health is definitely not the absence of disease. Our goal is vitality. So when you're looking at the spectrum of health, and I believe in orthodox medicine, they want you to thrive and be vital as well. That's why this is about integrative medicine. This is not about choosing one or the other. This is about using all the tools that are available to you from an orthodox perspective all the way up to alternative or complementary medicine. Now, on the spectrum of health, we have on the far left disease and on the far right vitality, and then you can be anywhere along that spectrum. But closer to the disease side of it, you could be going along that spectrum of health where your labs are normal, but you have fatigue, you have headaches, you have constipation, you feel cold, you're feeling depressed or anxious, but your labs say normal. So you wouldn't be triaged, you wouldn't be directed to the hospital because it's not life-threatening, but you're not experiencing vitality. And the goal of World Wellness Weekend is to get you to that experience of health and vitality. We want to move you as far as we can along this line over to the level of vitality. And so we're going to look at your labs. We want to know what's going on. However, even if your labs are normal, what are you subjectively experiencing? What are you feeling? And even objectively, because if you look at this next slide, here's the doctor saying to his patient, great news, your lab results look great, everything is normal, you're the picture of health. However, she's covered in all these rashes. You can see that she's not experiencing vitality even though her labs are normal. So when we talk about health, we're talking about a spectrum of health all the way from disease, which is absence of health, all the way to the right where we go to vitality, where your labs can be normal, but yet you're not experiencing vitality. Now, thinking of the model of health from a Chinese medicine and naturopathic perspective, again, a functional medicine understanding, is your body has this innate ability to heal, this ability to self-regulate, which we often call balance. When the body's in balance and homeostasis, it self-regulates, it heals. And if you think of the idea of when you get cut, you don't need to sit there and concentrate and say, heal, heal, heal. No, your body knows what to do all on its own. It does the healing. Now, if you get a real serious cut, you may need to get stitches. Now, the stitches doesn't do the healing. What the thread does is it brings the tissue together to create an environment to support your body's innate ability to heal. And when we look at the 5 pillars of health from the World Wellness Weekend, these are the threads. They are creating an environment to allow your body, to support your body to heal. And so when you think of health from a pendulum perspective, the body has this ability to self-regulate. So we want to be close to the middle. And when you get pushed out of your comfort zone, so you're in a vehicle accident or you get the flu, the pendulum swings out. But if the body has that balance, that innate ability to self-regulate, it will, over a short period of time, come back to homeostasis. That's health. You can still get ill, but you recover. But if you get a flu or a virus, and then your body keeps swinging, you've lost your ability to self-regulate, and you continue to suffer even after the accident from a vehicle accident or an acute virus infection. You're still experiencing poor health. And the body's lost the ability to self-regulate. And this is where the 5 pillars, and today we're going to talk about pillar number 4 on mindfulness and serenity, is to create the environment. It's the thread to support the body's innate ability to heal. So when we have dis-ease, when we lose that balance, we start to experience poor health. And from the 4th pillar, we have a signal in the body when our emotions are out of balance. It's called stress. In Chinese medicine, we call it qi stagnation. Some people refer this to as resistance or friction or noise in the body. Again, you can see this quote here, you can't change the projected world. You can't change the objective world, but you can change mind, your perception, the projector. Just notice when things are out of balance. There's a built-in signal that will always let you know, and it's called stress. From the Chinese medicine understanding of health, this mind-body, which is pillar number 4, is bi-directional. Bi-directional means it's both ways. Your physical body can impact your mental emotional health, and your mental emotional health can impact your physical body. So when we think of stress, many of you have heard of the fight or flight system. This is the autonomic nervous system. It's contained in every cell. You have the fight or flight, known as the sympathetic nervous system, and you have the parasympathetic system, known as rest and digest, and also breed and feed. And my patients that I see a lot of fertility in my clinic are always interested in the breed part of the rest and digest, breed and feed. And so if you can think about it, when you are in that fight or flight, you go into survival mode. And all of your energy is mobilized for survival. And with all your resources are being mobilized for survival, then they are not available for healing, for creativity. But if you can regularly engage the relaxation response, if you can elicit that relaxation response, you free up that energy now, so it's available for healing, it's available for creativity. Because remember, we have this innate ability to heal, but what are we if we're always under stress, we're mobilizing the energy and we're interfering with that body's innate ability to heal, because it's going to put other priorities first. For example, when you are under that fight or flight or stress response, blood flow is diverted from digestion, blood flow is diverted from reproduction to go to your heart, your lungs, and those major muscles, so you can either fight or flight. Think of it, analogy I have is like driving a car. Your fight or flight is like the gas pedal, and your parasympathetic, the rest and digest, is like the brake. And it's not that one is better than the other. If you're going to be passing somebody on the highway, it makes sense that you'd put the accelerator down, and on your car, the RPMs would go up high, possibly even to the red, for a few seconds or even up for a minute. But then it would come back to low RPMs, and you would take your foot off the gas a bit or even brake once you have passed that vehicle. However, if you drive a long distance, 4 hours, with your RPMs high, you're going to damage your engine, your vehicle. And for us human beings, we are constantly in this fight or flight. It's not that it's good or bad. Those that didn't have a good, well-developed sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight, aren't here today. If your ancestors didn't have a good system, you're not here today because they didn't have that alarm system, so they probably were eaten by some wild beast back in the day. And so it's not that it's good or bad, but we're predominantly now in the sympathetic, which isn't good for the body. And it can lead to health issues. It can lead to inflammation. It can reduce our immunity, so more colds, cause insomnia, tense muscles, tight muscles. So our goal is to use the relaxation response to free up that energy now, so it's not into survival, and free it up so now it's available for healing and for creativity. Just showing how the mind, your thoughts, your emotions can affect you physically. Remember, it's bidirectional. Your mental, emotional can affect you physically. And according to Chinese medicine, 2,000 years ago, they said the number one cause of disease are the inner emotions. So they call them the 7 emotions. So if they're out of balance, chronically out of balance or extremely high, they can wreak havoc on the body. And now, only in recent times, we're able to study, measure to see how our thoughts, our feelings can change our physical well-being, our epigenetic changes in the body. And so you have this experience, a life event, and you perceive it. How you perceive the event determines your response. And so now you have a mental, emotional response. This response now changes your nervous system. So there's changes in your heartbeat, your heart rate variability. There's an effect on the nervous system now. And then that leads to a hormonal response. So now there's a chemical effect in your body, which turns into a physiological effect. So it truly is that your thoughts and your emotions can impact your physical body, both you can do it positively or negatively impact your body. So the key here is to awaken your inner healer, and we do this by quieting the mind. When you quiet the mind, the soul will speak to you, that inner intuition. So it's really key to develop a relaxation response, a practice. And this is why it's so important. As I mentioned, this autonomic nervous system, when you're fight or flight and it's diverting blood flow from your main organs like digestion and reproduction and going to your heart and lungs, this massive amount of energy so you can either fight or flight, it leads to chronic hormones like cortisol being high, which can lead to blood sugar dysregulation, can lead to inflammation. There's a saying, I'm calling it inflammaging. So this chronic systemic inflammation is leading to accelerated biological aging and premature degenerative diseases. The good news is you can slow this down or even reverse it through diet and lifestyle, exercise, and as we're talking about, mindfulness, meditation, relaxation techniques. Again, if you're constantly in the sympathetic mode, which you've got your foot on the gas, it's not meant to be on all the time, and there's no survival benefit to be in this fight or flight. You're not about to be eaten by a wild animal. You're not about to be hit by a car. You're just worried about what's going to happen in the future. You're worried about your job, money. These are stresses that elicit the fight or flight, but that fight or flight is really for a survival benefit, and there is no survival benefit to elicit that while you're thinking about something. You're not in that emergency situation right now where you have to take action to not be hit by that car or eaten by that wild animal. And so that causes a suppression or immunity, and right now we're talking about the pandemic, and so we want our immunity to be up, so this is why practicing relaxation would be key. If you have tight muscles in your neck and shoulder, if you're getting headaches, if you're finding it difficult to sleep, if you're finding you have a lot of digestive upset, gaining weight in your abdomen, all of these, even fertility issues, these are all signs that you could be in sympathetic overdrive. So let's talk about some of the simple tools, because they are simple and powerful and effective, to help you elicit the relaxation response. The first one that I want to share with you, I heard through Peter Levine's book, Waking the Tiger. And what they observe in nature is, in the animal kingdom, is when an animal has a stressful experience, after it survived it, it goes off and does a lot of shaking and twitching. So, ducks in a pond, when they have two big fights, they'll go to the other side and then they'll start to shake it out. Dogs, animals, they've seen this in the wild. And it makes sense what they're doing here, because when you go into that fight or flight, remember we said you're mobilizing all your resources so you can fight or flight when you engage the sympathetic nervous system. Well, that's an amazing amount of energy. There are stories where moms have lifted vehicles off their children when they're in the moment, when they're in that sympathetic drive, and then the next day they can't even budge the vehicle. But if you are engaging this sympathetic fight or flight, but you're not discharging it through exercise, through actually fighting or running, then it's in the tissues, and this can lead to disease. So we need to discharge this energy, and this is about what I call shake it out. And so I'm encouraging you, if you're watching this, to get up and do a little shake out with me. Now, I have to tell you that the value in what I'm sharing is in the application of the knowledge. The value is not in the knowledge. You can read all the self-help books you like. You can watch this 100 times. And if you don't do the activities, the practices, you don't benefit. So the value is not in knowing, the value is in the application. So the shake it out, and I know people that like to dance, so they'll put on music first thing in the morning and shake it out and dance. But you can purposely do this by standing up and then just start to shake it out. Like, shake it all out. Just really shake your body. You can jump really hard and just do this for a good 30 seconds or a minute. This is why exercise can be beneficial, and we know it's studied that exercise can help you with exercise is a good stress reducer, right? You're discharging the energy, but you can purposely do this. After my day in my clinic, or if I had a patient where the story is very, very sad, and I feel like I'm taking it on, I can feel like it's in my cells. I can feel it. I'm impacted by it. I'm affected by it beyond compassion, empathy. That I'll go and shake it out just because I'm having a stress response. Just because there's no survival benefit. There's no benefit for me to be engaging my sympathetic. I'm not at risk of dying here. So this is why I want to shake it out, because my sympathetic nervous system has mistakenly been engaged. A funny or cute story is when my eldest was really young, after he was having a temper tantrum, and I was with him, and I got him to start to shake it out, and he really loved the shake your booty part. Like, so if you have young children, let's shake like a duck. Let's shake our booty, and we started shaking our tushies, and he thought that was the best thing. So while he's crying and angry, I'm shaking, then he starts to do it with me, and as he's doing it with me, and he's shaking his tushy, and we're saying the word tushy, he starts to laugh, because children are always so much in the moment, and really helped him discharge all that built up energy that he had. So it's a great tool for yourself. I'm going to do 3 tools. So that was the shake it out one, right? Discharge the energy. The next one I want to do, and I'm going to give you a little information why behind it, is the breath. I'm sure you've heard a lot about the breath. Let's talk about the science behind the breath, why the breath can be so important for eliciting the relaxation response and taking you out of that sympathetic and putting you into the parasympathetic. So the autonomic nervous system, I mentioned that we have this innate ability to heal. That's the autonomic nervous system. Every cell is connected in the body, communicating with each other. And so when you sleep at night, your blood circulates, your heart pumps. You don't need to be aware or thinking about it. When you eat food, you don't have to tell what acids, enzymes, juices are secreted. Your body takes care of it all, right? So you have this autonomic nervous system. Your body's healing. That cut, remember the cut, you didn't have to say heal, 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 heal. Your body took care of it. So your parasympathetic and your sympathetic nervous system is part of the autonomic nervous system, part of this involuntary nervous system. So you're not thinking about breathing in and out while we've been chatting here. It's been happening all on its own. Just like you haven't been thinking about heartbeat, heart pump blood, doing all on its own. Now, if I asked you to slow down or stop your heart for 5 seconds, I don't think the majority of you are capable of doing that. And just like your breath is part of that autonomic nervous system, that involuntary nervous system where you're breathing in and out while you sleep and while you're listening to this, not having to focus and concentrate on your breathing, your breath is a part of your nervous system where you actually have a little bit of voluntary control. You could hold your breath if I asked you for 5 seconds. You could purposely slow down your breathing. And so your breath is a gateway to your nervous system to let your body know it's safe. And what we now know, some of the things we are knowing about the breath, is the long exhale. The exhale is what engages the parasympathetic nervous system, this rest and digest, breathe and feed part of the nervous system. And through heart rate variability studies, that's where they've been measuring the autonomic nervous system, the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. And through the heart rate variability studies, it's the long exhale. So way back, I heard Andrew Weil, Dr. Andrew Weil, great author, medical doctor, big pioneer of integrative medicine. We were speaking at the University of British Columbia. He was the keynote. I was a little break-off workshop group, and he did a breath exercise. And I heard it a little differently, so I've modified it. And with research, I've changed it a little bit with the new research that's out there. And my technique is you breathe in for a count of 4, hold for a count of 4, and exhale out for a count of 8. Similar to box breathing, but box breathing would be in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. Because I now know that heart rate variability shows the exhale is the key in the parasympathetic engagement, I want a really long exhale, as if you're blowing through a straw, slow and steady. The inhale is going to be through the nose. So I'm going to walk you through this in a moment. I'm going to tell you how it works, and then I'm going to walk you through it. The inhale is through the nose for a count of 4. Tongue's at the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. And your mouth is closed to the inhale, and your mouth is closed during the hold for 4. In for 4, hold for 4. And then when you exhale, your tongue's still at the roof of your mouth, and you exhale all the way out slowly, and the air will gently go around your tongue. Why the tongue at the roof of the mouth? Well, Andrew Weil described it. He was interested in Ayurvedic medicine, so he had his reasoning based on Ayurvedic medicine why it should be there. According to Chinese medicine, we have these channels in the body, and it creates like a circuit between the Ren and Du-Mai in Chinese medicine, so it makes sense from a Chinese medicine perspective to do this. Just like there's always electricity at the light switch, until you turn the switch, you don't get it flowing into the light. And so same thing here, this tongue creates a circuit. And then again, I just like common sense, simple reasons work well for me. You know, when we're stressed and tense, we tend to clench our jaw. And so if your tongue's at the roof of your mouth, with your mouth just gently open, your teeth are open, but lips are closed, you don't clench. So it's a nice way to keep you from unconsciously clenching your jaw if you put your tongue just at the roof of your mouth behind your front teeth. You want to take a deep belly breath through the nose. Some suggest that doing this with the diaphragm and just stretching out your belly maybe kind of massages the vagus nerve, which engages that parasympathetic nervous system. And by doing the breath, you are telling your body you are safe. That's the key. Remember that it's bidirectional. Your thoughts and emotions have a physical impact, and your physical has a mental emotional. And so when your emotional state changes and you go into sympathetic, your breathing naturally, because it's part of the involuntary nervous system, will change. And so if you are noticing you are feeling stressed, anxious, fearful, if you bring your awareness to the breath and change your breathing, you're overriding your habitual fight or flight, and you're telling your body you're safe. So let's do this. So we're going to go in for 4, hold for 4, out for 8 for about 4 times. Maybe we'll do 5 or 6, but in for 4, hold for 4, out for 8 is considered 1. And we like to do at least 4 cycles. They say on average 3 cycles it takes to start the engagement at least. So 4 to 6 is what I'm recommending. We'll start off with a deep inhale and just let the air out of our lungs. So we'll go, and then through your nose, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold still with your tongue at the roof of your mouth, and your mouth is closed. Now open your lips and breathe through your mouth, extending that long exhale for a count of 8, 4, 5, all the way out. Breathe in through your nose, 2, 3, and 4. Hold 2, 3, and 4, and a nice, slow, gentle exhale through the mouth. 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale 2, 3, and 4. Hold 2, 3, and 4. And as you exhale, just let go of all tension, all stress on the exhale. And as you breathe in, slowly breathe in peace and calmness on the inhale. And as you exhale, just let go of any tension, any worry, any stress. And again, Breathing in peace and calmness on the inhale. And as you exhale, let go of any tension, any worry, any stress. And just doing that, the breath, simple, powerful, and effective. It's a mind hack. You're telling your body you are safe. You had this thought, something about work or your relationship or what's going on the political world, and your body went into the fight or flight. But there's no survival benefit when you watch the news or you look at Facebook and you start to feel stressed. But there's no difference for your body whether you're about to be hit by a car or a wild animal. It's a survival mechanism, and you're mobilizing your energy for survival, and it's not available now for healing or creativity. And so just by changing your breathing, you're telling your body you are safe. Alarms down, okay? And then you can be more resourced when you make your decisions on how you want to respond. So hopefully you enjoyed that experience of the breath. It's a great way to communicate to the body that I am safe. I encourage you to do this. I call them bookends. So first thing in the morning when you wake up, last thing as you go to bed. So that's how you finish and start your day. And then before each meal, you know, we talk about mindfulness and eat mindfully. I often think traditionally in the old days when people would pray before meals, some of you still do, but when it was the majority would pray before meals, I think it brings a mindfulness to your eating. And the breathing is the same idea. If you stop before you eat and do in for 4, hold for 4, out for 8, imagine you're breathing in peace and calmness, and on the exhale, letting go of tension and worry. You do that for 4 times. You're going to engage the parasympathetic, which is part of the rest and digest, breathe and feed system. Oftentimes we eat and we use food as our antidepressant, like a Prozac. We're using food to fill us up. And as part of that sympathetic to want sweets for energy, etc. If you calm your nervous system down, if you engage the parasympathetic by breathing before you eat, you'll bring mindfulness to your meal. And you may now look at your plate and choose that you don't want what's on your plate, or you don't need to eat as much on your plate. So it's a tool of bringing mindfulness to before you eat. So when you wake up, and then before each meal, I recommend this, when you go to bed. And then, of course, if you're in traffic and you feel stressed, you're just feeling stressed, you wake up in the middle of the night, anytime you're feeling your body's going into that state of alarm, engage your breathing. I want to discuss a little bit about alpha brainwaves, and I have Dr. Les Femi's books on here, The Open Focus Brain and Dissolving Pain. A lot of the stuff I like to do belief change modalities in my practice. So in AccuBalance in Vancouver, I use acupuncture and low-level laser therapy, dietary therapy, and then I like to use belief change modalities to help people enhance their healing, right? And relieve pain, optimize their fertility. And in this manifestation work, it appears that eliciting the relaxation response, getting to sympathetic into parasympathetic is beneficial. And when you go into this more calm, relaxed state, you're going into more of an alpha brainwave. So the way the neuroscientists described it is you have beta. There's more than this, but I'm going to talk about beta, and then you have alpha, and you have theta, and delta for sleep. We're not going to talk about gamma today. Well, when you're in overwhelm and stress, you're in high beta. You're not very effective. You've lost it. You're in the fight or flight, and you are panicked, overwhelmed, high beta. When you're in low beta, you're awake and you're focused. That's what some people describe as flow, when things are just going really well and you're concentrating, you're getting stuff done, you're loving it. That's low beta. Alpha is a form of detached relaxation. It's been described as the power of now, being in the present. So when you're really present moment, you're in alpha. And in alpha brainwaves, they've noticed that you can access certain parts of your brain of creativity. So you can access parts of your brain that you normally don't access, where you can find more creative ideas. When you think about this, it reminds me of the story I heard about Thomas Edison, the great inventor. They said he would contemplate, think about ideas, and he'd hold a ball bearing in his hand, and while he'd contemplate, if he fell asleep, his hand would turn over and he'd drop the ball bearing to wake him up. Because in that state of between alpha and going into theta and delta to sleep, so beta to theta, beta conscious, theta's in your unconscious, there's that happy space. Some of you have experienced that as you're falling asleep. It feels really nice and you're kind of here, but you're drifting into sleep. That's alpha. And there's a natural progression as you go to bed to go from beta into alpha, theta, and delta. And it appears that a lot of people come up with these great ideas when they go into this alpha state and then later into theta, into that unconscious part of their mind. Practicing alpha, getting the alpha amplitudes better, stronger, is a bridge for you, because when you're in theta, when you sleep and you have those brilliant dreams and then you wake up, so you're in theta and you wake up and you go theta right almost to beta, pass through alpha real quickly, you forget the dream. But you knew it was amazing. It had all the answers for you. Well, alpha is the bridge between unconscious theta and beta, remembering, conscious. And so if you practice these tools as well, you're exercising your alpha amplitude, and this will help you remember your dreams more, it'll help you feel more relaxed. So it's helping that innate ability to heal as well. The reason I bring up Les Fehmi, we're going to talk about the open focused brain, is Les Fehmi was looking at ways to measure alpha brainwaves by looking at all these past cultural and sage advice and meditation techniques that he's learned about that say they elicit a relaxation response. He wanted to see if they could elicit alpha brainwaves. So he would have his wires, his head set up, measuring his brain waves. And to his great frustration, he could not replicate. He could not get his brain into alpha, although he was doing all of these techniques that have been shown throughout the ages by many sages, many traditions, that it will bring up alpha. And so finally, one day, he's had enough. It doesn't work. And he quits. And when he finally quits, surrenders, lets go of outcome, he's still hooked up, his brain went into alpha. And he realized part of going into alpha is this letting go, this surrendering process. And he learned also through his research that when we're in narrow focus, sympathetic, when you are focused on the external environment, you're in survival mode, then you're narrow focused, and that's not alpha, that's beta, even high beta. And when you go into open focus, that brings up the alpha brain waves, which we want to have. So just to give you an example right now, without moving, without touching your right hand, just become aware that you have a right hand. So take a moment and just bring your awareness to your right hand. Some of you may want to close your eyes because it's been shown to be beneficial if you close your eyes, so you're not externally referred, you're now internally referred. Just notice you have a right hand without touching it, without moving it. Now notice you have a right thumb. Now notice you have a left finger. How about a left hand? Can you tell that you have a left foot? That's a form of open focus. So I wanted to share with you an exercise that we're going to do in a moment. I just wanted to share a little bit of the research from his open focus. So I'm going to read a little quote from Les Fehmi's book, The Open Focus Brain. His message is, many of us have become stuck in narrow focus attention, a tense, constricted survival mode of attention that holds us in a state of chronic stress, and which lies at the root of common ailments, including anxiety, depression, ADD, stress-related migraines, and more. To improve these conditions, we must learn to return to relaxed, diffuse, and creative form of attention, which he calls open focus. And then there's been research out of the National Academy, the proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, that shows that brainwaves play a crucial role in inhibiting habitual thinking modes to pave the way to access more remote ideas. What they've showed is if you can get into this alpha brainwaves, these ideas, remember Thomas Edison, that are always there, but you're not accessing because you're too narrow focused, you get access to them. So it accesses other parts of your brain when you can get into the open focus. Fleming goes on to say excessive and prolonged stress, or this is another journal, excessive prolonged stress or the poor ability to cope with stress can negatively affect everything in our lives, our health, relationships, job performance, and emotional well-being. Open focus is a practical and effective method for reducing stress-related symptoms and enhancing well-being using principles developed in the field of biofeedback. Again, they're noticing this mind-body connection that Chinese medicine developed 2,000 years ago, was aware of. So I mentioned we're going to do simple, powerful, and effective tools. We've done this shake it out, right? So shake out this energy, discharge this buildup of energy. You can use exercise for that. You can use dance, or you can just purposely shake it out. Then we've done a breath. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 8. Long exhales if you're breathing through a straw. And now we're going to do a body scan. So this body scan is open focus. When you close your eyes and you become aware of your body, and I'm going to direct you through this, then you now are in open focus. So it's another mind hack. And if you practice this regularly, your body's going to habituate and learn to do this easily. Okay, easily and effortlessly is our goal. So I invite you, we're going to do this. Maybe it's going to take 7 to 10 minutes for this. So do get comfortable. You're welcome to sit. You're welcome to lie down. And on AccuBalance, if you contact us, we can send you a meditation where I take you through a breathing and a meditation like this that has some music. So that's at accubalance.ca. If you want to hear this again and have one where we put music to it, and there's even a heart-brain coherence meditation as part of that, we have a nice short 20-minute meditation where we'll take you through the breath, open focus, and a heart-brain coherence meditation as well. So just bring your awareness to your breath. And I invite you to close your eyes gently. Just take a nice deep inhale and just let all that air go. And bring your awareness to your eyelids, these tiny little muscles. And notice this peaceful, calm, healing energy traveling down your cheeks, below your eyelids. And this calmness, this serenity circles your lips, enters your mouth, and this calm, healing energy travels up your jaw, loosening and letting go as it travels up towards your ears. And this calmness, peaceful, healing energy now travels down your neck, gently washing over your chest. Enjoying this calmness, this serenity. And this calmness, this peacefulness, this healing energy reaches your diaphragm. Your diaphragm has such an important job to do. It brings in air into your lungs through the inhale. And lets go of the air on the exhale. Bring your awareness to your breath. And as you breathe in peace and calmness on the inhale. And let go of any tension, any worry, any stress on the exhale. Breathing in peace and calmness on the inhale. And at your own pace, letting go of any tension, any worry on the exhale. Calmness and stress cannot coexist. So every time you breathe in peace and calmness on the inhale, it displaces any stress that was there. And again, breathing in peace and calmness on the inhale and letting go of any stress, any tension, any worry on the exhale. And now this peaceful, calm, healing energy travels down your abdomen, loosening, letting go, traveling through all your digestive organs, effortlessly and easily traveling down through your pelvis as it washes over your upper thighs. Just notice how good it feels as this calmness, this peaceful healing energy travels through your upper thighs, permeating every cell, tissue, ligament, and nerve. Just enjoy this calmness as you just let go. And this calmness continues to travel down your legs to your knees, effortlessly and easily traveling down your shins, relieving, releasing, as this peaceful, calm, healing energy travels to the tops of your feet and spreads over your toes. Now you may become aware of a pulsing or a tingling sensation in your toes. or nothing at all. Anything is possible. And this calm, peaceful, healing energy now travels around the bottom of your toes, along the bottom of your feet, along the soles of your feet. Just letting go as this calmness now travels up the back of your heel, over your ankles and your Achilles tendon, reaching your calf muscle. Just enjoying as this calm, peaceful, healing energy travels through all the muscles and tissues of your calf muscle. Just letting go. And this calmness continues to travel up the back of your leg to the back of your knees, taking it all in, releasing and letting go as this calmness travels up now the back of your legs, the back of your thighs, those hamstrings, releasing and letting go as this peaceful, calm, healing energy goes deeper and deeper into all your cells, effortlessly and easily traveling up your buttocks to the small of your back. And this peaceful, calm, healing energy now travels up your back, your entire back, one vertebrae at a time, all the way up. This calm, peaceful, healing energy, deepening, softening, relaxing, all the way up to the bottom of your neck as this calmness, this peaceful, healing energy travels over your scalp, enjoying perfect circulation, just as nature intended it to be. And as this calmness now reaches your forehead, just become aware as it softens, loosens, and smooths out your forehead as this peaceful, calm, healing energy travels along your eyebrows, just letting go down the side of your face, along the side of your scapula, beneath and around your scapula, back to your shoulders, deeper and deeper down into this peaceful calmness, experiencing as this healing energy travels down your upper arms, reaches your elbows, just enjoying the serenity, feeling it wash over your elbows, down your lower arms, to your wrists, as it spreads to your hands and to all your fingers and thumbs. And just breathe. Another nice deep breath in. And a nice slow, long exhale. And again, and on the next exhale, bring your awareness back to the room and open your eyes. Simple, powerful, and effective. So that's a form of open focus. Now, you can take the time and do this and elicit the relaxation response just by closing your eyes and bringing the awareness to different parts of your body creates open focus. It's a mind hack to get you into that alpha brainwaves, to take you out of high beta overwhelm and put you into alpha, detached relaxation. Okay, so it's another way to calm the nervous system down, to free up those resources for healing and for creativity. And you can just do some quick ones. Remember when you're doing the breath, you can do the breath in for 4, hold for 4, out for 8. And then you can be playful. And then while you're breathing, do I have a right hand? Can I become aware without touching, moving, or looking at my right hand? Do I have a right hand or a left hand or a kneecap? Or can I tell I have a left ear or a right ear or a nose? Just start to bring awareness, mindfulness to that area. And if your eyes are closing, you can start to bring awareness to that area, sense it, feel it, notice it, see it in your mind's eye. That process creates open focus and brings you into alpha brainwaves. That's why guided imagery works so well. You know, if they pretend you're in a boat and you hear the waves lapping on the boat, or you're in the forest and you touch the bark on the trees or hear the birds whistling in the trees, that's a form of open focus. And that's why guided imagery relaxation is effective, because it puts you into open focus and brings in that alpha brainwaves, which is what we want when we're not in a fight or flight situation, when we're not in a survival situation. Now what I want to share with you is something I've developed and I use in my practice. I do it one-on-one with my patients when I'm doing acupuncture and laser therapy with them. So it's a form of belief change modality, or I do it over telehealth as well. And I call it the NAC right now, the Notice, Accept, Choose Again. And basically they're how to present moment tools. I remember reading Eckhart Tolle's book, The Power of Now, and I resonated with it. And this idea of present moment, we hear so much about it regarding mindfulness, the mindfulness-based stress reduction system, the research that's out there. Mindfulness or being present is awesome. For me, I just couldn't turn on the mindfulness. I was like, how do I get present moment? I couldn't turn on the present moment, as Eckhart Tolle described it so well in his Power of Now. And for me, being a bit of a doer, I had to find ways to bring myself into present moment. So I have tools. They're just tools and gimmicks to bring you into present moment. Some of you are so good at this for meditation, you won't need these. For me, I used to be a doer, and now I want to be a beer. So rather than a human doing, I am a human being, and my doing comes from my being. And so I needed to find some tools. So I want to share this with you guys. Now, also I want to share Viktor Frankl's quote here. Viktor Frankl is a psychiatrist and a Holocaust survivor. And he was able to have a different experience during the Holocaust through his perception, his mind. He writes about this in his papers and in his book. And one of the key quotes here is, between stimulus and response, there is a space. Some people call it the present moment, right? In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and freedom. So what I'm taking from this quote, and what I'm seeing in my practice and for myself personally, is we have an event, and then the event is neutral, and then we give it meaning, and we perceive it a certain way, and that creates an emotional response. And most of our emotional responses are reactionary. They're habitual. So we kind of get triggered, and then we're in our wound. We're in a habitual reactionary mode. And the idea of being able to present moment or mindfulness is to, rather than react, is to respond. So to be conscious, to be awake. And so through my years of practice, and as I mentioned, I'm trained in many belief change modalities. I'm a trained clinical hypnotherapist. And through the workshops I've attended, the reading, and my own personal and clinical experience, I've come up with an approach that I use for myself and I share with my patients. And I just want to give you an overview of it, to give you a taste, to plant the seed of what's out there. And so I call this the NAC approach. And again, it's to get you in the present moment. So you get to choose how you feel versus reacting and amplifying when you get triggered. And so the first step is to notice. And so the key with notice is not to take it personally. And this is that moment. So if you can just do the notice, that's the noticing is that moment, that pause. And when you can just have that pause, that's a chance for you to go from reactionary, being at the effect of what's happening, amplifying it, eating it, being in the ego, and becoming present with it, so you're fully awake, so you now get to choose how you respond. So the first key is just to notice. And if you can practice noticing and just noticing you have that, remember that projector slide we had up earlier where we said the body has a built-in mechanism to let you know when things aren't going right? It's called stress. And we call it chi stagnation in Chinese medicine. Some people call it noise, friction, resistance. You know it. You're not feeling expansive. You're not feeling limitless. You're feeling contracted, tight, small, fearful, exact. You know the feeling. You know where you feel it, what that's like. So the first key is to notice. And then once we notice, because what's happening is we're seeing the world. I'm just going to pause for a moment here. What's happening is when you have a stimulus in your life, somebody cuts you off, something happens at work, something in the news, you see the world through the lenses of your subconscious. And what I mean by this is that you have these programs that you're running, these beliefs that you've inherited. You got them since you were a childhood. And through through your programs, your beliefs, you have these lenses on, tainted lenses, and that's how you perceive or see the world. And so when you're unconscious, when you're at the effect of a stimulus, you're in your wound, you are triggered and you're seeing the world through the lenses of your subconscious. So everything that's happening is actually neutral, but you are giving it meaning through your lenses of your subconscious. They say again now is in neuroscience is that you're only remembering about 50% of your memories accurate, meaning there's so much information that's coming at you into the subconscious, but you can only really remember consciously 50% of it, and then you are filling in all the gaps. It's made up. And so you can have 5 children see the same event, and all 5 can have a different experience, telling of the story of how it happened, what happened. They'd see it differently. So this is how powerful the subconscious is. So the key here is you're seeing the world not as it is, but as you are. You're seeing the world through the lenses of your subconscious. And so the notice, accept, choose again, the first key is to notice. Don't take it personally. Everything that happens is neutral, and then you are giving it meaning based on your programs. And if you can use these accepting what is tools that I like to use, if you can get into the present moment, then you are resourced. And I have the Superman pose here because when you are present, you are awake, you are conscious, you are resourced. When you are in the reactionary mode, when you're at the effect of it, when you eat the stimulus and you amplify the negative emotion, then you're in that reptilian part of your brain. You're in the high beta. You're in sympathetic. You are in fight or flight. You are in narrow focus. You don't have access to all these wonderful ideas and creativity. And so if you can use a tool to get in the present moment, then as Eckhart Tolle says, when you are present, you can either remove yourself from the situation, you can improve or change the situation, and if you can't remove yourself or improve or change it, then you can continue to accept what is, because you can be at peace in an unhappy situation, meaning you don't have to suffer. So you may not like the situation, you may not want the situation, but if you can get into a state where this is what's happening, so you're not fighting with reality, because when you fight with reality, when you argue with reality, that's what creates the chi stagnation, the friction, the stress. And so if you can accept what is, you can keep yourself from going into high beta and stay in that nice alpha amplitude with the beta, low beta and a high alpha amplitude. And now you get to access parts of your brain that is not available to you, solutions, when you're in the high beta, overwhelmed, sympathetic. So you can stay into that, get yourself into parasympathetic, get yourself into alpha, and now you're resourced. And now you get to choose how you feel. So these are some of the tools I use in my NAC approach, and I keep adding them. I use the breath. These, again, are tools and gimmicks to get you to the present moment. An event, a stimulus happens, and then that's neutral. You're going to give it meaning, but if I can just notice it, if I can take a moment to pause and then bring in one of these tools, then I can stay conscious, awake, resourced. I can stay whole brain, and then I get to choose how I want to feel. And that's really where your free will comes from, is you get to assert your free will and choose how you want to feel. So free will is the freedom to choose your feelings. And so nobody can really make you feel anything. Yes, there can be a trigger, so somebody can be the trigger, the stimulus, but your perception, your feelings are your business. You're doing that, and you can use present moment, notice, accept, choose again, to shift this. And so, again, Viktor Frankl says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. So the notice, accept, choose again, this belief change approach that I like to use, the key is to get you into present moment, and that's when you get to change your programs. And so you see the world through the lens of your subconscious. And so if you have a program that's not serving you, if you can change that program, your perception of the world can change. And Eckhart Tolle says, if you get the inside right, the outside will fall into place. So it's about changing the inner experience, the being, human being versus the human doing. It's changing the inside versus trying to change the outside. And many of us are trying to change the outside without first changing our insides. And so the key is to have a conscious shift inside. Another Einstein quote would be, we can't solve a problem at the same level of thinking we created it at. We can't be unconscious at the effect of our environment in high beta, in sympathetic mode. We want to get ourselves into parasympathetic, into alpha. We want to become whole brain, our whole brain resource versus in the reptilian survival brain, open focus versus narrow focus. And when we change ourselves, then we have a better opportunity to make better choices and creativity in the outer world. And so I use the notice, accept, choose again approach to interrupt the story, because you can have a negative thought and then it leads to a negative feeling, then you have a negative thought and a negative feeling. And this Notice, accept, choose again is about interrupting the story, because when you believe in the story, you're making it real. And so if you can interrupt the story, the negative thought, interrupt the story, positive thought, positive feeling, positive thought, positive feeling. So you get to notice, present moment, accepting what is, and now you get to choose again. And so that's the approach I like to use with my clients, where I see them one-on-one or via telehealth. And it's we just had a nice workshop recently, and we'll offer them again. Check out our website. We offer these intensive workshops to teach you how to do the NAC, so you can do this on your own, or choose to have me facilitate some with you as well. So the fourth pillar is about serenity and mindfulness. If you're able to regularly, several times a day, elicit a relaxation response through breathing, through open focus, the body scan, using the NAC approach, shaking it off, mindfulness, then you will see improvement in sleep. So you'll sleep better, you'll lessen your anxiety, improve your focus, boost your creativity, strengthen your immune system, and you'll have a fresh perspective now when you look at things in life, and just even lengthen telomeres, right? These little like plastic tips, as they say at the end of shoelaces, we have these telomeres at the end of our chromosomes on the DNA, and if they shorten, our life shortens, and we have disease if they shorten too quickly. And so if we can stall that or lengthen those, we can even see these dietary changes, these mindfulness changes are changing things on a DNA level. So it's not just, oh, I think I feel better. We are seeing physiological changes on an epigenetic level and on a genetic level, on a DNA level. That's pretty impressive. And so that is the 5 pillars of health. It's all about practice. The value is not in the knowledge. The value is in the application of the knowledge. So remember, repetition, repetition. The longer you do it, the easier it becomes. And the easier it becomes, the longer you do it. It becomes a habit. Just like you brush your teeth every day, you don't have to go, oh, I got to brush my teeth. You just do it. If you incorporate these practices into your life, they will become habitual, and you'll just do it. You'll actually miss it if you don't get to do it. And so I want to thank you for joining this World Wellness Weekend event. And if you want to reach out to me, you can find me through AccuBalance.ca. Remember, that's where I can facilitate some of this with you if you're interested. And then if you want more stuff on mindfulness and conscious talks, then check out lornebrown.com, and that's also where I offer workshops on manifestation techniques, etc. So thank you very much, and I want to wish you all a beautiful weekend and a beautiful rest of your year. Thank you very much for tuning in.